Hello, I'm Sybil. This is another Tokyo Mew Mew new episode review thingy. This is for episode 2. I already did a sort of review for episode 1. Last time I had been telling myself I wanted to make a script, but I don't really have time to do like a full planned script or anything, so I wrote notes this time to try and have my ideas sorted out. And I had originally tried to make this episode a live react, but I wasn't happy with it. I had a lot of interruptions and stuff. My dog, I love him, but he wanted attention. So yeah, let's get started with episode 2. Right, so episode 2 is the lettuce episode. Since Mint already is a Mew, we naturally have to skip her introduction, which is a little disappointing because I do want to see the ballet recital. But I imagine that when we do get a Mint-centric episode later on in this show, they're gonna incorporate part of her original intro into this new episode. There's some more things I kind of want to say about Mint and her intro, but I'll save that for the end of this video because I'd be going into more of a spoiler-ish territory. It's kind of like a promo stuff that you really have to look for it. So yeah, let's continue. Something I noticed right away with this episode is how Rio says the name Tokyo Mew Mew for the girls. I know that not everyone likes comparing, a new media with the original, but I do, and this is my video. So originally in the manga and the old anime, Ichigo is the one who comes up with the name Tokyo Mew Mew on the spot. What happens is that there's a situation where the girls get filmed and a bunch of news reporters show up and they're like, "Who are you girls?" and they're saying, "What was that monster?" And so Ichigo kind of panics and she comes up with the name, "Oh, we're Tokyo Mew Mew, defenders of Earth and Tokyo." So Rio already having the name Tokyo Mew Mew planned out just adds to the idea that the Mew project, they specifically wanted to create magical girls to fight the aliens. So in the manga, it seems that making magical girls was an accident. And then in the old anime, it was more of a planned thing because we do see that they were scanning people in the museum, but we only see Ichigo, and then it's a little less clear since they don't really know who the other 4 girls are after Ichigo. So now this is just the evolution of that, where they do in fact know these are the 5 specific girls who have animal DNA. We specifically were looking at people to find perfect matches who could use the animal DNA. I still don't know how Rio and Keiichiro got that information. I'm just gonna chalk that up to the power of money. Right, so they talk about Keiichiro, and Keiichiro is actually a kind of scientist, I guess. But he researches, in Japanese it is called uma, which is just the Japanese word for cryptids. So he's into cryptozoology. And basically they explain that, so cryptids the Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster and the Yeti, those are all actually just chimera anima in the world of Tokyo Mew Mew. They're just regular animals that got hit by the little parasite jellyfish and got turned into weird monsters. And I guess they just exist in our world then? Tokyo Mew Mew is the first instance that we know of that there's a way to purify the animals and return them to normal. So I guess that means that somewhere in the world of Tokyo Mew Mew there's a Loch Ness monster hiding. Personally, I wonder if in the setting of Tokyo Mew Mew, can you explain creatures such as yokai and other mythological creatures as also being chimera anima? I think that'd be kind of neat. I don't know how much that will fit into the lore of the aliens, because they're supposed to be trying to invade Earth, but like how long? I don't know, something to think about. Let's move on. So, continuing on in the episode, Ichigo goes to school and she starts having cat-like behaviors. This is basically an adaptation of the scene that I noticed got cut out last time. They basically took that scene and added it to this part, and it works. It makes sense. I'm glad we get to see more silly Ichigo. She was in the rooftop hissing with a cat. Like, I think that was new. I don't remember that ever being like in any of the old material. Her just suddenly being on the roof and like fighting with a cat. But yeah, she is having some weird cat-like behavior, and it ultimately culminates in her cat ears and tail wanting to pop up. She gets embarrassed and freaks out in front of Aoyama, and then she runs off and she meets Lettuce. So this is a slightly new scene, but I really like it because it shows how awful Lettuce's friends are. They basically do, you know that one meme where like there's a guy and he's supposed to be taking a picture of his friends, but he has like the camera phone facing towards him to take a picture of himself? It's almost like that, where Lettuce's so-called friends, you know, they raise their phone up to take a picture and they just point it towards themselves, and it's like, wow, that was so shitty. It was so shitty of them. Wow. Also, I kind of just like that they've modernized it a little bit, because now everyone has fancy iPhones and everything. They can take selfies now. Alright, so like I've said already, before Ryo and Keiichiro really didn't know who got the animal DNA, but now in this new show, they do know very specifically because they were doing their research and everything. So when Lettuce shows up at the cafe with her friends, Mint immediately recognizes her, and so they go to the back and they're like, yep, she's Lettuce, she has the DNA of a finless porpoise, but she hasn't awakened it yet. So this is like a slight change that is pretty neat. They also slightly changed the explanation for why Ichigo has to work at Cafe Mew Mew. Before, it had been just, work at the cafe to try and find the girls who have, animal DNA now. But now it's more about using the cafe to get intel and get rumors about anything that sounds like it could be like alien attack, which is neat. It makes sense to me. It also leads nicely into the girls gossiping with Lettuce about how there's a ghost at their school. And so the Mew Mew team basically think that like, oh, might be like a Chimera Anima, this might be a good opportunity to awaken Lettuce's powers, y'all should go and investigate it. And so they go, and then we get a very nice scene that shows Lettuce at the pool, and basically her emotions are swirling inside her head like a storm. She's thinking about her so-called friends. She's thinking about her interactions with Ichigo throughout the day, how Ichigo was so nice to her. The water of the pool starts to move around. It starts becoming pretty much like a storm, like out at sea almost. I really liked her voice actress here. I think she does a very great job. I looked up her name. High Dive says it is Ryoko Juni. Yeah, Ryoko Juni is doing great at Lettuce. I also like the other tiny scene where Lettuce is talking about how she's always tried to make friends, but it's never worked out before, and we see brief moments of Lettuce, but she's shadowed and she's all alone, clearly. Like, she's clearly separated from the other people around her, and it's ever since like from a young age and like throughout her school years and with these new so-called friends. And I just really liked that kind of imagery. And I liked Ichigo's words to Lettuce about how Lettuce might be a kind person to others, but she needs to learn to be kind to herself. That friendship isn't just about hanging out with people, it's about like wanting to hang out with these people. And Lettuce needs to think about what she wants to do. Does she truly want to hang out with these mean girls just because she hopes that one day they will become her friends? Or does she want to hang out with someone like Ichigo, who Ichigo is, understands her and wants to genuinely become her friend? And so something that I'm a little worried about, but I'm not sure how worried I should be, is Mint. So in this episode, Lettuce attacks Ichigo and Mint, and Ichigo is able to dodge with her cat-like reflexes, but Mint doesn't, and she gets hit and she gets slammed into like a wall, and it looks brutal. And then she doesn't really do anything after that. And I think my issue with Mint right now is that because she was the first girl to be found, and we don't know how long she was by herself, we don't know if she had to fight any Chimera Anima on her own, but there's a bit of an expectation as an audience that she can hold her own in a fight. So the more I think about it, the more I guess I have to acknowledge that usually Ichigo is the one who does the finishing blow. The other girls have their attacks, but I don't think they really purify the Chimera Anima on their own. So the episode ends, everything's good, Lettuce joins the team, she leaves her old friends. I like that scene where her friends are like, hey Lettuce, we want to go to this cafe, you should go ahead and like save some seats for us. And Lettuce is like, no, I have friends now, and she runs off. I like that. Good job, Lettuce. Proud of you. I also really liked when Lettuce was gonna like serve at the first table, and she was very clearly nervous and she like yelled, and then the customers were like so nice to her and they just said, oh, it's your first day here, you can do it. That's like so nice. I would never imagine customers to ever be that nice to someone. Okay, and then the final scene of the episode is Quiche floating somewhere above the city. Also, the episode 3 preview is mostly Quiche too, because clearly the staff knows what the fans want. But episode 3 is also the pudding introduction. The subs wrote it as pudding for the title, however, I also noticed that in the credits, her full name is the Chinese pronunciation, as in Bulin Huan. So they might make this distinction where like her civilian form will be her Chinese name, Bulin Huan, but then as a Mew, she might be just Mew Pudding. Which I like. And yeah, that's everything from the episode. Overall, I still really enjoyed the episode. The few changes that they've had to do to, modernize it and everything, I've been enjoying. And what else? Oh, right, I was gonna talk about like a little bit more about Mew Mint. So this is like a spoilery kind of thing. This is information that you can get from the Tokyo Mew Mew new official visual book. So the official visual book has art for all the girls and the other characters, and it's pretty neat. You can see like their civilian outfits, their waitress outfits, their Mew outfits. You can see like what phones they have and everything. And there's also a section on the aliens and the Chimera Anima. So they have examples of different Chimera Anima, and one of them happens to be a Chimera Mickey. And I mentioned it last week, but Mickey is the name of Mint's dog. And originally, the way that Mint awakens her powers is because Mickey gets turned into a Chimera Anima. So the fact that the visual book has a design for Chimera Mickey makes me think that we're gonna definitely get Chimera Mickey at some point. It's just the situation will be a different context, basically, since she's already a Mew. So yeah, I'm glad that the show You know, even when it's changing things, they find ways to bring it back around and put them still in the show. You know, the way that they brought back Ichigo's weird cat behavior at school, and how they're gonna apparently bring Chimera Miki. So yeah, I'm happy with how they're handling it. And yeah, that's about all I wanted to say on this episode. I have to go do some other stuff now. I'm not sure how I'm gonna do episode 3, if I'm gonna like try to do a live reaction again, if I'm gonna make notes, or if I'm gonna try like do a script. I'll figure that out later. That's a problem for later, Sybil. I also wanna like make more videos besides just Tokyo Mew Mew. I have like some ideas, but I just need the time. I don't have time. But yeah, that's about it. See y'all next week. Goodbye.